What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So today I want to talk about Social Security. I want to talk about the best option when it comes to addressing the trust fund. So that's what we're going to focus on in this video. But first off, if you guys can do me a favor, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that little bell notification, and then click all. By clicking all, you'll get notified anytime we put out a video. We do daily videos here, so by clicking the bell notification and clicking all, you should be getting updated every day. Okay, so at the very end of this video, I'm going to give you a secret code. It's going to be a number, and you put that number in the comments when you post your comment, and I'll make sure to read that comment and reply. I read all my comments, but I just wanted to reward the people who watch the video all the way through, and that's one way to reward them, by if they put that, whatever that number is that I tell them to put, if they put that in the comments, then I know that they watched the video all the way through, and I will make sure that I address those comments. I might not have all the answers for you, but I'll at least address the comment. Okay, so let's go ahead, and I want to talk a little bit about Social Security and when it comes to cuts, because we're hearing a lot about Social Security cuts now. And if you just pull up any article, and all I did is I just typed in Social Security, and when you type in Social Security, you get all these different articles that are coming up talking about cuts, right? The White House turns talks to Medicare, Social Security cuts against the GOP. Okay, obviously Democrats and Republicans are fighting back and forth, and the Democrats are using this Social Security cut as leverage to show the GOP in a bad light, if you want to look at it that way. Now, you do have some Republicans that are talking about making cuts, so this is not something that is just far-fetched, but the Democrats are taking full advantage of this by putting this out there. Damaging cuts to Medicare and Social Security are looking more likely with McCarthy as House Speaker. Here's what it will mean for retirees. And so they're really honing in on the fact of making cuts. And so one of the reasons that we're hearing a lot about cuts when it comes to Social Security is because of the trust fund. By 2034, 2035, if nothing is done, you're going to see a decrease in your benefits by 23%. And that's because the trust fund will run out of money. Okay, so that is the reason why we're hearing a lot about cuts. That's one reason. Now, you do have some politicians that want to do away with Social Security and Medicare as a whole, and they don't want to fund it anymore. And so that's a whole nother topic. But today I want to talk about the trust fund, because that needs to be addressed. Because if nothing is done, that's when you're going to see that 23% decrease in your benefits. So that's something that we need to focus on. So I want to come here. This is from the Washington Post. So the OASDI, the Federal Old Age Survivors and Disability Insurance Program, otherwise known as the Social Security tax. So when you hear people talking about the payroll tax or FICA, this is what they're talking about. It will take 6.2% of the first $160,200 of your wages for 2023. So an individual earning that much this year would contribute $9,932.40 to OASDI. The person's employer would contribute the same amount, so they're going to contribute another 6.2%. If you're self-employed, you pay the full 12.4% of OASDI tax rate, though you would also get a deduction for half of what you pay, according to the IRS spokesman, Eric Smith. And so why are we talking about this tax? Now, this is what you see when you get your paycheck. And I remember when I was younger, that paycheck, I started getting paychecks, and I'm thinking I'm going to just get all the money that I've worked for. So whatever the hourly wage was at the time, I think it was, I want to say $4.75 or something like that. And I'm thinking I'm going to get all that money. And so that's when I discovered taxes actually come out of your paycheck. So that money that you're paying in taxes, that is insurance. And so part of it goes to Social Security. Another part goes to disability. So let's say you get hurt on the job. That money goes to disability or survivor benefits. So if God forbid something tragic happens to you and you pass away, well, there's some survivor benefits that can be collected by your family members. And so when it comes to the trust fund, one thing that they're going to need to do is they're going to need to boost up the trust fund, or basically fund the trust fund, because if they don't, that's when you're going to see that 23% decrease. And so we're hearing talk right now, and you have Republicans talking about this, raising the age limit of full retirement. So raise it from 67 to 70 or something like that. I'm just giving you an example. And that will address the trust fund, because they'll be able to, people will work longer. So that will mean that they're paying into Social Security for a longer period of time, which would also mean that they're going to collect less benefits as a whole, and it would be a cut. And that's why they're saying if you raise the age limit, it's actually a cut to Social Security. But when it comes down to it, that would address the trust fund, or at least that's what they're saying right now, that would address the trust fund. However, it's going to take time to do something like that, because you have to phase it in. You can't just say, if someone right now is 66 years old and they can retire at 67, you can't say, oh, we're just going to move that goalpost. So we're going to move the age up to 70, and now you have to work an extra 3 years or 4 years. You can't just do that. So you have to phase it in, gradually phase it in. And then just like they did the last time, when it was 66 to 67, they gradually phased that in. They didn't just do it overnight. And so this is something that would take time. So this would be something that would have to be implemented immediately in order for us to see this be effective by 2034, 2035. And so that's the problem when it comes to raising the age limit. Now, the easiest way to go about this, when it comes to the trust fund, to address the trust fund immediately, the easiest way to do that is by raising that tax that I just talked about, okay? The OASDI, or the FICA tax. Raising that immediately would affect everyone receiving Social Security benefits, because by doing this, you're going to have more money for Social Security. Just bottom line. You don't have to wait. You don't have to transition anything in. And if that doesn't work, you can always look at some of these other options in the future. But this is something that politicians are afraid of. They don't want to raise taxes, because by raising taxes, obviously people will be upset. And if they're upset, this could mean that they lose their job. Okay, and we saw that with first President Bush. And so this is something that politicians are trying to shy away from. But I think if it's an incremental increase, very small increase, people are not even going to see it, and they're not really going to care too much. And they're going to understand this is an insurance that benefits them. So if it's a situation where they get injured on the job, now they're paying into that insurance, disability insurance. They're also paying into the survivor insurance, and they're also ensuring that they have Social Security when they get old enough to start collecting. So this is one of those things where it's an investment. It's not a situation where you're just paying more in taxes, but you're investing more into your future. And they need to frame it as an investment, because that's what it is. It's an investment in your future. So we're going to have to see if politicians actually start talking about this more. But right now, we're not hearing any talk of it. Another thing that they can do with this, with the raising the taxes, they can have it on a stabilizer. So basically, if the economy is doing really, really poorly, that's when the stabilizer will kick in, and it will offset what is missing, and it will help when it comes to the trust fund. So that's another option that they can do. So it's not automatic, but if we're in a situation where times are tough, that's when it will kick in. So, but that's dangerous too, because if the stabilizer really starts kicking in and people are struggling, and now they have to pay more in taxes, and so then they might lash out against politicians. But the bottom line is something needs to be done. This is the best option to address it immediately. And so we're going to have to see if politicians do move forward with something similar to this. Raising the age limit, that's something, like I said, it's going to happen over time. And because it happens over time, it's not something that can immediately help when it comes to Social Security. And then also, if they want to address a raise for Social Security, they could do that with this payroll tax as well. And so that's something, like I said, this is immediate. So they could do something. And if they're talking about a $200 raise for Social Security, they could implement that into the taxes that would be collected. And so if you're collecting more taxes through FICA, then you can fund a raise for Social Security. So ultimately, I want to know what you guys think about this. Do you think this is the best option, raising taxes, or do you think that they should be looking at just raising the age limit? And it's either raising your taxes an incremental amount, or we're looking at a situation where you're not going to be able to retire for a few extra years because they need to raise the age limit of full retirement. Let me know what you guys think down below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.